Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Lulu Essey podcast, where we build mental fitness, confidence, and self-love without following someone else's blueprint. I'm Lulu, and if you're feeling stuck, anxious, struggling with your worthiness, or just tired of self-improvement guidance that feels like it was written for someone else, you're in the right place. This podcast is about personal growth on your terms, doing the real inner work of building self-love and self-worth from the inside out. These are honest conversations about becoming who you actually are, with simple tools that guide you and meet you exactly where you are. There are no quick fixes, no hacks, and no toxic positivity. This is unedited and always from the heart. Today is part 2 of an 8-part series inspired by patterns I kept noticing throughout 2025. I noticed them in search behavior, in workplace well-being research, in conversations, and in the kinds of questions people were asking themselves, their therapists, their coaches, and also in what they were asking AI. Something shifted. People seemed to have stopped asking questions like, "What's wrong with me?" And instead they started asking questions more like, "Why do I feel this way, even when I'm doing everything right?" And I'm here to sit with these questions alongside you, to offer you my perspective, to slow down and make meaning of what we're living through together. Please share this episode with anyone who is searching, asking questions, and looking for more meaning, more purpose, more insight, more freedom, and joy in their lives. Last week, in part 1, we explored the question, why do I feel stuck when nothing is technically or glaringly wrong? We talked about being a quiet misfit, someone whose external life looks aligned, but whose internal compass is pointing somewhere completely different. And I offered you a tool called the honest naming, which is simply giving voice to what's true without rushing to fix it. But here's what often happens next. You name it, you acknowledge it, you get clear on what you're feeling, and you even figure out what you need to do. And then you don't do it. So today we're sitting with what might be one of the most frustrating experiences in personal growth. I know what to do, so why can't I make myself do it? You know that you should have the difficult conversation, but you don't. You know you should set the boundary, and you don't. You know you should start the project, make the call, send the email, take the step, and yet, day after day, you don't do it. And the worst part is that you know better. You've read the books, gone to the workshops, listened to the podcasts. Maybe you even teach the stuff to other people. And still, when it comes to your own life, you're frozen. If this is you, it's not a character flaw. This is not laziness. This is not you being weak or broken or too much, too impossible. And you are not beyond help. This is something else entirely, and understanding what it is actually allows everything to shift. Here's what we've been taught. If you know what to do and you're not doing it, you must not want it badly enough. Or you must be lazy or lack discipline. Or maybe you just need to try harder, push yourself, force yourself. Maybe you have no willpower. And so we white-knuckle our way through. We make ourselves do the thing through sheer force of will. And sometimes it does work. For a while, until we burn out, until we snap back, until we find ourselves right back where we started. Except now we're exhausted and we feel like failures. The self-help industry has made billions selling us the idea that information plus motivation equals transformation. That if you just understand the right concept, find the right hack, get the right mindset, action will naturally and easily flow. But here's what I've come to understand, both in my own life and working with others. That equation is incomplete, and it's incomplete in a way that really matters. The gap between knowing and doing is not a willpower gap. It's a safety gap. I'll explain this. Your nervous system has one primary job, and that is to keep you alive. And it does this by constantly scanning for threat. Is this safe? Is this dangerous? Should I stay? Or should I get the hell out of here? Now here's something important. Your nervous system responds in very similar ways to physical danger and emotional danger. To your body, the threat of rejection feels the same as the threat of a predator. The fear of failure activates the same alarm bells as the fear if you were physically falling. So when you know you should have that difficult conversation, but your nervous system has learned that speaking up leads to conflict, criticism, or abandonment, it doesn't matter what you know intellectually. Your body says, this is not safe. Don't move. When you know you should put yourself out there, but your nervous system has learned that visibility leads to judgment or humiliation, your body says, stay hidden, stay small, and whatever you do, stay safe. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system doing precisely what it was designed to do. The problem is it's protecting you from dangers that may no longer exist. It's running old software, an outdated program. It's responding to threats from your past as if they're happening right now, as if they're happening in your present. This is why reading another book doesn't fix it, why knowing the right thing to do doesn't automatically lead to you doing it. Information lives in the thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is logical, rational, and strategic. And the part of you that's blocking action lives deeper in the limbic system, in your body, in patterns that were laid down long before you had words for them. Thinking alone isn't enough when your body feels like it's under threat. You can't logic your way past a body that is bracing for impact. And this is actually good news, because once you understand this, you can stop beating yourself up for not being able to just do it. And you can start working with your nervous system instead of working against it. So, what actually creates change? Well, it's not forcing yourself to act despite the fear. It's not gritting your teeth through your resistance. It's not more information, more motivation, or more pressure. It's safety first, then action. When your nervous system feels safe enough, action becomes possible. That does not mean action necessarily becomes easy, but it does become possible. The frozen feeling inside you thaws. The paralysis begins to shake loose, and now you can actually move forward. And here's the key. Safety doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means you've started to build self-trust, which is evidence that taking action won't destroy you. Evidence that you can handle what comes next. Evidence that you can survive taking action. And you build that evidence not through big dramatic leaps, but through tiny, repeated experiences of surviving small risks, through taking small steps. And the thing is, very few people want to take small steps because they think they don't count, that only big dramatic steps count. But small steps allow your nervous system to feel safe. And very importantly, small steps compound over time. They matter way more than you think. Stop waiting to take the so-called big, epic, dramatic first step and start small. This is why I'm always talking about tiny tools, not because small actions are cute, fluffy, or trendy, but because small actions fly under your nervous system's radar. And yes, sometimes you can take a big leap and thrive. But if you're stuck in a loop of not taking action, that is your sign that your nervous system doesn't feel safe. When the action is small enough, your body doesn't register it as a threat, and it doesn't trigger the alarm bells. It doesn't activate your freeze response. And every time you take a tiny action, a small step, and survive it, every time you do the small thing and nothing terrible happens, you're sending a message to your nervous system that says, "Look, we're okay. We can do this." This is why consistency is a powerful key to all of this. You need to take those small steps consistently. That's how you build the safety that makes bigger action possible. It's not by forcing yourself to take the big leap before you're ready, but by taking enough small steps that your nervous system learns that movement is safe, action is survivable, that I can handle this. It's not glamorous and it doesn't make for good social media content, but it works. It genuinely works. And this is not about shrinking yourself, shrinking your dreams, or shrinking your ambitions and wrapping yourself up in cotton wool. This is about expansion, not contraction. And it's about creating safety in your nervous system that allows for that expansion. So here's your tiny tool for this week. I call it the next right thing. When you're facing something you know you need to do, but you can't seem to make yourself do it, ask yourself, what is the smallest possible next step I could take? Not the whole thing, not even a significant portion of the thing, just the very next tiny action. If you need to have a difficult conversation, the next right thing might be just to write down one sentence about what you want to say. That's it. You don't have to have the conversation yet. Just write one sentence about that conversation down. If you need to start a project, the next right thing might be to open your computer and open the document. Just open it. You don't necessarily have to write anything. I've spoken before about the powerful impact of 10 or 15 minutes every day. If you feel ready for it, commit to 10 or 15 minutes a day of working on your project. We can all manage that. If you need to make a call, the next right thing might be look up the phone number. That might be all. You don't need to call yet, just find the number. And maybe after you've done that, you can make a time and put it in your calendar to make that call. The key is this: make it so small that your nervous system doesn't flinch. Make it so tiny that resistance feels almost silly. Make it so minimal that you can do it even on your worst day. And then you do just that one thing. And notice that you survived. Notice that nothing terrible happened. Let that register. Let it land in your body. Feel it. Take time to breathe it in and celebrate that small step. It's never too small to celebrate. We delay celebration for what we think are big things, but celebrating your small steps reinforces that you did it. And like consistency, those small celebrations compound in a significantly positive way. Tomorrow, you can take another next right thing, and the day after that, another one. And slowly, step by step, you build the safety that makes bigger action possible. So here's what I want you to take from today. If you know what to do, but you can't seem to do it, you're probably not lazy. You are definitely not broken. And you're probably not lacking willpower or discipline. What's happening is your nervous system is most likely doing its job, and that is to protect you from perceived danger. The issue isn't that you need to try harder. The issue is that you need to feel safer. And safety doesn't come from thinking. It comes from experience, from tiny actions that prove to your body that movement won't destroy you. Don't run old programs in your nervous system. And this week, pick one thing you've been stuck on. Ask yourself, what's the smallest possible next step? And then do that, nothing more. Let it be enough because it is enough. And please don't judge it or discount it for being too small to make a difference. Next week, in part 3, we're exploring confidence and specifically why it feels hard, even when you're clearly capable. Because once you start moving with tiny steps, confidence becomes the next piece of the puzzle. But that's for next week. For today, be gentle with yourself. Try not to treat your inaction as though there is something wrong with you. And remember, the smallest step still counts because it means you're moving forward. You can watch this episode on my YouTube channel or check out my shorts, which are bite-sized tools to build mental fitness, one tiny step at a time. And please hit subscribe while you're there. And share this episode with someone who's been beating themselves up for not being able to just do it. Understanding why we're stuck is the first step to getting unstuck. And as always, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And today, with deep compassion for everyone stuck between knowing and doing, between insight and action, this comes straight from my heart to yours. I'll see you next week for part 3.